at manunulat ng panitikang Pilipino, halina't tuklasin ang yaman ng ating panitikan, ang pamana ng ating lahi. Ito ang Sari-Sari, tuwing Miyerkules, 11:00 ng umaga, dito sa Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Iwasan ang pagkakaroon at pagkalat ng sakit na COVID-19. Palagiang maghugas ng kamay. I-check ang temperatura para sa lagnat. Umiwas sa matataong lugar. Iwasang hawakan ang mukha kapag hindi pa nakakapaghugas ng mga kamay. Iwasan muna ang pagyakap, beso-beso o paghalik sa ngayon. Maging maingat, maging ligtas.
Basta't laging handa at sama-sama, kaya natin to. Hatid sa inyo ng PCOO, DOH, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Jesuit Music Ministry, music that uplifts the soul. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer. Get your daily dose of inspiration through our music. Follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube.
Do you have concerns or problems about the school? Pag may dilema, huwag mag-alala.
Sabihin sa sango. Pag may dilema, huwag mag-alala.
Locate their boxes around campus and simply fill out the forms in the stations. Drop them in the box and boom, you're done. You can also fill out our forms online.
Sabihin sa sango.
This is a service brought to you by your Sangu. Pag may problema, huwag mag-alala.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Calling on all young male professionals. Do you wish to live an extraordinary life? Are you tired of the routine and mundane and long for a dynamic, adventurous, and even dangerous life? Do you wish to make your life count and hope to make an impact long after you're gone? Do you wish to live a life of service to society, to country, and to dear Mother Earth? Then you are the one we are looking for. Consider the Society of Jesus. Join the Church's gallant army and turn your world upside down. Call the Jesuits Vocations Promotions Team, 426-6101, Local 3406. Once again, 426-6101, Local 3406.
Palalimin ang kamalayan sa mga isyong napapanahon. Makisangkot at makiisa kasama ang simbahang lingkod ng bayan. Ang Social-Political Apostolate ng Kapisanan ni Jesus. Ito ang Kwentuhang Bayan mula alas 11 ng umaga tuwing Biyernes dito lang sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Dahil naniniwala kami na posible ang isang mas mabuting lipunan at maaari itong simulan sa isang kwentuhan. Meron? Ano nga ba ang meron? Paano nga bang mabuhay ng tapat sa meron? Don't you wish you can relive your philo classes? The terror teachers? The terrible oral exams? Or the even terrifying but liberating and life-changing aha moments? Lundagin mo, baby! Here's your chance! Lundagin mo, baby! Kasama ang mga pilosopong sina Jovi Miroy at Ron Capinding. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping upward, leaping forward. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping to greater heights, to greater wisdom, to greater magis. Lundag na, Ateneo! Radyo Katipunan is now online. See our live feed on facebook.com/Radyo Katipunan. Check out our Instagram and our Twitter at Radyo Katipunan and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Radyo Katipunan FM for more exclusive content. Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Patuloy pa rin ang laban natin sa COVID-19. And together, we can beat the solusyon.
B. Bawal walang mask.
I. Isanitize sa mga kamay. Iwas hawak sa mga bagay.
D. Kumistansya ng 1 metro.
A. Alamin ang totoong impormasyon tungkol sa COVID-19.
Protektahan natin ang sarili at mga mahal sa buhay.
Solusyon sa COVID-19.
Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, 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 katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan. Radyo, kawal ni Ignacio, katipunero sugo. Todo sa kayod, punong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing hiding at tigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, radyo, katipunan. Radyo, katipunan.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
If it's entertainment you crave,
Catch us on
New Wave. Surfing through the latest on our shores.
every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m.
See you there. Hello everyone and good afternoon. Coming to you from Radio Katipunan 87.9 FM via Zoom. I'm Max, and when it comes to what's happening, I'll serve you the facts. So please take this hour to sit back and relax because this is New Wave. So joining us today from the other side of the world is the multi-platinum, multi-awarded singer-songwriter who has given us your favorite Valentine's hits such as Got to Believe in Magic, King and Queen of Hearts, and many more. So everyone, please give it up for Mr. David Pomeranz.
Hi, Max.
Hi. So
should
excited
I
to
yell
have you.
loudly to be heard across the world? I don't think we have to do that, right?
Yeah, we'll be fine. So, first of all, belated happy birthday. How did you celebrate?
Oh, thank you. Well, we went to my favorite delicatessen. It's like I just had some great breakfast with my mom, who's still with us. She's 91. I mean,
Great.
she's 90, and she's going to be 91 soon. And my wife and son and myself, and we just had a relaxing day together.
That's great. Did I hear that right? A breakfast birthday celebration?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It was great.
All right. So, otherwise, how have you been, and like, what's been keeping you busy the past year?
Well, gosh, I've been writing a lot,
Yes.
and then demoing what I write.
Oh, okay.
You know how that is. You're a musician. You know. It's both of those things are fun. Can be fun. And I'm working on a new musical. I write Broadway shows as well as pop records. So I'm working on a new Broadway musical. So that's been fun.
Can you tell us about it already?
No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but I can tell you this though. It's something I've been working on, excuse me, a long time. It's funny with musicals. I don't know. Do you write? Do you dabble in theater? Do you write theater songs too?
I've done plays, but I've never tried writing a play.
Well, it's a fascinating exercise in trying to and being really clear about what you want to say, because it's a character saying something that has a purpose in a story, and it's supposed to move things along or communicate an emotion that you just can't do with just words, right? So you got to sing, right? And it's a wonderful exercise writing for the theater. I feel like I've become a much better writer than I ever was, because I have to find the right words.
Yeah.
And original words.
Yes.
Because if you, especially in the theater, you know, with records sometimes, I mean, I've always wanted to, when I write pop records, I always want to write things that are, try to be original and try to be fresh and say things in a way that maybe other people aren't saying them or whatever, but especially true in theater, especially. So, because you know, people are just, they're sitting there waiting to be blown away and entertained and in the story and in the moment. So it's lyrically and musically, it's quite a challenge, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
That's great. So let's talk about a musical that you can talk about. Like a few years ago, you did Under the Bridge with Miss Kathy Lee Gifford. So how did that go? And I guess like this bleeds into my next question, but what's a collaboration process like? So let's start with talking about the play.
Oh, well, that play was a wonderful experience. Kathy Lee, I don't know if a lot of you know her. She was the host of the Today
Show, yes.
For many, many years. And we became friends. She recorded Born for You. And she titled her album Born for You. And I said, well, I'd really love to meet her. And we met and hit it off. And of course, we both love the theater. And so we thought, let's write some musicals. And we did. Under the Bridge was one, which was off Broadway. And then we wrote something called Scandalous, which was on Broadway. We wrote with David Friedman. So yeah. So you're asking what it was like?
Yeah. So like what in general? In general, what's a collaboration process like? Like, how do you build good rapport with people you work with? Since I think that's something that all of us now, especially working on Zoom, need to have.
Well, I mean, collaboration is like a good marriage or friendship or anything. Yeah. You know, you got to listen to the person, listen to what they have to say, and whether you agree to or not, you know, and have to. I find you have to have an atmosphere where you both understand that you may not agree, but you're going to give the other guy your ear, you know, and you can violently disagree, but all with the purpose of getting the best song you can get, you know. So as long as that's like Shakespeare said, you know, the play's the thing. The same thing in writing songs for me is the song's the thing. I don't care who wrote what lyric. I don't care anything else.
That's nice.
You get a great song that makes your hair stand up and get goosebumps. And you go, the writer goes, yep, there it is, you know, and then you win, you know. So you got to get people with you who agree with that idea.
That's great. It's really a team effort. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So we had a quick conversation about this yesterday, but we can't deny that the world has changed a lot in the past 2 years. So given all of that, how has life changed for you these past 2 years?
Well, it's changed a lot. I mean, haven't been able to do concerts and no theaters. I know they're starting to open, which is great. So that's been a difference, and spending a lot more time studying and writing and that sort of thing with my family, and being very, very, very thankful for my friends, especially because I've lost a lot of my friends, and so I'm very happy. I will say. I mean, I also got COVID early.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. And I mean, I'm okay, but
that's good.
But that shook me because I thought, well, you know, it's a wake-up call.
It is.
It was a wake-up call. It really is. And I survived, and I'm doing well.
That's great.
And also well. But the point is that it was for me. It changed my ideas about so many things. You know, I became very, very grateful, truly grateful not just
Yes.
I'm grateful.
Yes.
People throw those words around. Oh, I'm blessed. Oh, this is blessed, and I'm grateful. But wow, when you're faced with that sort of thing, it's like, wow, I'm here. This is awesome. Thanks. I'm really glad that I'm here and I survived, and now I can continue to do what I love to do and love the people I love.
Yes, it's a different level of gratitude and also appreciation for like getting through it. So also you mentioned you miss like you haven't been able to do a live concert in 2 years, of course, because of the circumstances. So
Yep.
what do you miss the most about performing live? And I guess also what's the main difference between performing live and online, apart from of course the platform?
Well, come on. I mean, boy, being in a room with people
Of course.
is it. It's not even better. It's what it is.
Yeah.
I can do the online thing. I did a concert with Jim Brickman. He and I did an online concert, and it's fine. It's just like making a movie, It's
Like making a
it's
movie,
fine.
that's cool.
But it's it wasn't. I mean, we didn't have an audience there. I suppose if we had a live audience, it might have been better. But there's nothing like plugging in to and with an audience. You know what I mean.
Yes.
I mean, it's a very unique thing, and
It is.
it's what makes concerts and theater live
Yes.
performance what it is, and why it's so sought after, and why people love it so much is because it's real, man. It's happening right there. And if you screw up, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've dropped a microphone, or my voice cracked or something, and it's real life. And I think, and everybody loves it, right? It's because it's you're all making it together.
Exactly. Like I think performing live, whether it is for theater or it's a concert, it's such a communal experience because of the shared energy between you as a performer and then like you with the audience. Like it's different when you get those responses live, because the same thing has kind of been happening to us like as radio hosts. We used to be able to get to do this face to face, but then lately we've been doing it on Zoom. So it's like a very different transfer of energy. And then just like how in theater, like it's so different when you're acting like through Zoom, since we've had plays where we're like this, we're in this setup, like we're on Zoom and not acting face to face. The energy transfer and sharing is like so, it's like so different, and you really kind of just miss it.
Yeah. We have to preserve it, and absolutely. So do you do a lot of performing as well? I know you write and sing and such. Tell me.
Not lately, but like my main platform is really like here, radio hosting, and I really enjoy it. It's one of those things that also make me feel a deep sense of gratitude.
That's wonderful. Well, you're good at it.
Thank you.
You're a good communicator. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you. Bringing this conversation to your career. So you may have gotten this question a lot of times, but for us here, how did you start? You don't need to give us like the blow by blow, but tell us like a little bit about your superhero origin story.
Oh, wow. Well, I've always loved music. My parents are musicians, and there was always music in the house, all kinds of music, every kind of music, jazz, rock. And my parents were married really young. So, they liked, when I liked the Beatles, they liked the Beatles. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which is great. But living in and around New York was terrific, because I got to see some of the greats. And as I grew to love it more and more, I got a record deal really early with Decca, and made my first albums with them, and did these amazing tours and played the great venues, the great, and, Greenwich Village clubs, when it was so hip and cool to do that, and saw these amazing performers. I mean, I was touring with people. I don't know you or your listeners know of these people. I'm going to say a couple of the names.
All right.
And I want to tell you because you should look them up and listen to them. There was a guy called John Sebastian who was the leader of a group called Love and Spoonful.
Oh, okay.
Big band. Do you believe in magic in a young girl's heart? Those guys.
Yes.
Or
we know
what a
those
day
songs.
for a daydream. What a day for a daydreaming boy. Those guys. And John Sebastian, as a performer, blew me away. And he became a hero of mine for performance because he came out and he embraced the audience, you know. So I said, I want to do that, you know. And then I'd say the other thing, a couple of things that were hallmark things that were important points was when I was a little boy, 5, in fact, my parents played for me the album of West Side Story.
Oh, the musical.
And yeah. And I don't know if you or your guys, you know West Side Story, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And that's as rock and roll as it comes. That there's so much energy and so much creativity in that score by Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim. And I was 5 years old. And I was sitting on the den floor listening to this, and I thought, this is all I want to do. This is all I want to drink this, eat it, rub against it. I want to be with this feeling my whole life, you know? And that's where I got it from that moment, actually.
That's great. And I think that really shows us the impact music has on people. Like, no matter how young you are, even if you don't completely understand the lyrics yet, you understand the feeling. There's a feeling that it gives you. And that's really what draws people to it, whether it's to be music makers or listeners. And like, that's magical. Given all of this, like what you told me now, bring that all the way to this year. How would you say the music industry has changed throughout your career?
Well, it's changed pretty drastically. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm a believer in coming back.
Yeah.
You know, I don't buy the one lifetime thing. That's just me. It's my experience about it. But I know I'm going to come back and I'm going to be faced with high tech expectations. I'm really going to need to know all of this. There's no getting around it. There's no getting away from it. Right?
Yeah.
So, but things have changed pretty severely. I mean, I was just telling a friend of mine the other day, you know, when I want to promote a new album, what we used to do is the record company, well, you know, it wasn't that long ago. The record company would put a full page ad in, you know, let's say the Philippine Star or wherever, or New York Times, whatever, full page ad or a half page, you know, announcing the new album. And then the promotion people would make sure the records were in the stores and would push the artist and get them on tours, and we work with the agency and blah blah. And it was not that doesn't exist anymore. It does.
It does.
But not the way it was, because that's all it was. There was no other way. You get your song on the radio, or you get your song, or you play it on TV, which promotes the radio song.
Yes.
Right. And tour and get good reviews and get people talking about you and all that stuff. And now, as you all know, this medium that we're talking over is it.
Yes.
And it doesn't cancel out the live performances like we talked a moment ago. You know, that's still there, and let's keep it there. But otherwise, it's pretty altogether different. You know, what I don't like about it, to be honest, is the noisiness of look at me, 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 look at me. You know, look at me, here's my show, here's my this, here's my hair, here's my boobs, here's my head.
Oh my goodness.
Here's my There's my dog. My dog licking my feet. Isn't this cute? Oh, hey, look, we got 500,000 likes. It's like, why? I mean, so I don't know. It's just noisy, and the trick is, and it's an interesting thing where is to have such an honest moment, whether it's a video or a record. Well, it's like the all of me loves all of you came out of freaking nowhere, right?
Yes.
It was noise. I don't mean noisy music. I mean noisy promotion.
Yes.
Marketing.
Yes.
The greatest, the best. Everyone's got a YouTube, and it's like selling fish in a fish market or something. It's kind of like ew, And then along comes this honest piece of work. It just goes, cool. And everyone goes, right? A piano and a voice and a great song.
Yes.
And so I'd like to see more of that. And I guess the answer is, as I go blah blah blahing at you here, but it's funny you asked me, because these are things I'm really interested in. The answer is, as always, to do something honest.
That's
at least try for it anyway. I mean, maybe it'll come out not well, but just do something right here and communicate it and mean it. And chances are it'll hit, it'll connect. So those things don't change.
That's good. That's really good advice. And especially now, I think it's so important to be honest and authentic with yourself because of, like you said, sometimes the world is such an echo chamber. So that honesty and authenticity really makes a person shine and stand out. And yeah, that reminds me of how some people say, especially right now, you're putting out, people put out content, you put out things like this. We have to remember to be honest, and we have to remember the why. Why are we doing this? And that makes all the difference.
Oh, that is truth, what you just said. Why am I doing this?
Exactly.
It's great. The answer is ultimately, I mean, I say that to myself before I go on stage. I have to. I stand there in the wings and I say to myself, why are you here? What are we going to accomplish here? What's the point?
Yes, what's the point?
And it always comes back, well, we're going to have some fun. We're going to communicate. We're going to make something new. All of us, we're going to co-create this night that's never happened before and will never happen again. That thing. And communicate and whatever all that means, but you said it perfectly. It's got to have a reason, and it's not enough reason to be a star. It's not enough reason to make money. And it can be, I suppose, but I think those kinds of artists you can kind of smell coming a mile away, don't you think? They're just self-absorbed. It's like it's all about me. And the last thing I say about that, it's okay. I've really been thinking about this a lot, that it's okay to self-promote.
Yes,
I realize
there we go.
It's okay to want to be seen and noticed.
Of course.
Because, and it's what you said, because there's something of value. And you know that. You know that when they receive it, they will be better for it or happy or they'll feel something nice. You'll make a nice effect on them. And so it's okay to aggrandize oneself with that purpose in mind. I want you to know me because what I have, I think you're going to like. I think you're going to enjoy it.
Exactly.
I want you to like this. I want you to be happy with this. And that's how I've sort of reconciled that whole issue in my life. Not that you even asked me, but there you go.
You know, what you said, like, what I have is of value and I'm going to give it to you and it's going to be great. Like, I think that really applies with your music because a lot of your songs are very feel good, rom-com, and like that's the feeling we like to get for, well, at least for me now, with how unpredictable the world is. I like that feeling of watching a rom-com or maybe pretending I'm in a rom-com because the song is so great. And when the singer feels it, you feel it too. And like that's something I really appreciate when I listen to music.
Yes.
I've been very excited to ask this question, but please walk us through your songwriting process.
Oh man, my process. It depends on what it is, you know. I mean, if it's an assignment, then you go ahead and you bang it out. But it always has to be honest to you. Otherwise,
yes,
it sounds phony, right? It sounds funny. But my process is, it always surprises me. And maybe it's similar for you and for some of your viewers who write. I am always amazed at that I wind up going in directions I didn't intend on. And it comes from just allowing. I know that I'm talented. I know that it's going to happen. And sometimes it takes a walk. I have to go walk.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that helps, right?
Yes.
Get some space. Turn on a movie. You know, look at the sky. You know, eat a pizza, whatever it is.
Eat a pizza, yeah.
And come back, and then come back to it. What?
Yeah.
And then come back to it, or sometimes barrel through it. It depends. You know how to do. You know when it's one or the other. You know when hey man, I got to step away from this.
Exactly.
You know, I'm going nuts.
Exactly. I guess to me, like, it's kind of like doing your homework sometimes. Like, okay, wait, my head is like brimming with information and all of this. I have to step back. And it's when you come back to it, you have the fresh eyes, better enough to finish it. So,
yeah, it's interesting, right?
So a while ago, you said it's different. Like, it depends on the reason. Like, how you'd approach an assignment would be different from how else. So, I guess to make this a little more specific, how does your writing process change when, like, let's say you're writing for an album versus like when you're writing for a musical?
When I'm writing for an album, the voice I'm speaking is mine. I'm the character. And it's not that all my songs are autobiographical, they're not. But some of them are collections of, say, women that I've known. Or experiences that I've had, and I put it together, and then it's about one woman. So it's not always literal, but it's always, you know. I mean, look, it's an album. Pop albums, really good ones, are filled with personal energy. You know, there's this great energy that's very personal and creative, new. You know, so I'm always, and what I'm wanting to do now more than ever is make more albums that are more adventurous.
Adventurous? How so?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure. That's part of the fun, actually. I've got a lot of new songs. I've got a bunch of new songs. A lot of them are unfinished. But they're pretty interesting. I mean, they're all things that I'm interested in, and I'm interested in again, surprising myself. Wow, I never thought of that. Yeah.
Saying you're the character, like when you write an album, your own song, I mean, an album for yourself, like you're the character. That's so nice. And then surprising yourself, like, I really like that concept because that is kind of what happens when you write a song. You surprise yourself sometimes, like with the result or what happens, or the road it takes,
or the what?
The road, like the road it leads you to. Like sometimes you sit down and you have this one plan, but then you come up with something that's completely different from the plan. But it's great. Like that's the experience.
That's it, man. It's pretty great, isn't it? I mean, it's really remarkable. Thing that we as beings, human beings, have within us, it's like a natural, the right things happen. It takes you where you should go, but you have to be willing to go there.
Yes.
And not be so pedantic as like, I can't, I've worked for 3 weeks on that verse and I'm not going to change it because it's so good. I mean, you can try to keep it, but if it wants to go away,
you have to let it go.
Lots of verses, lots of choruses, lots of places it can go,
That's great. So, okay. So you talked about like having a lot of songs that are unfinished, but as a songwriter, when do you know that it's time to stop revising? Because like I think a lot of us have this problem. When we're writing, we want it to be so perfect. It's so hard to tell when we're finished. So when do you tell yourself like, okay, this is finished and this is going to be a great song?
Oh, that's a great question. And the close, because I'm very nitsy pitsy about it. You know what I mean? My nitsy pits. Every little thing, every little word is.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and my friends, my wife too, she say, David, leave it alone. Stop scratching. It's itch. The itch is done. But so what I've learned better is that when I get to sit back and I scan the song and I lyrically, let's just say, and it goes rup, 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 rup. It's not perfect. It's not. But I go, that's great. It's got a feeling. It's got a whatever, it's got something.
Yeah.
It's got its own life. Leave it alone. And I've violated that. As sounds like you have too.
Yeah.
I've taken like 9 months to write a song that was done after a month. I wrote a song called "This Is What I Dreamed,"
yes,
which is on the Born for You album, and I had recorded that on my Pacific Records album years before, and it took me 9 months. And I was reaching and reaching. This has got to be the greatest thing that's ever been written. And I would bang in my head on this thing. And I overwrote that like crazy. And then realized, as I just said, that many months before I hit it, I made it. And when I rediscovered, when I knew it was just fine, but it had to be better, then I could let it go. But I try to curb myself. I try to keep myself in line and not overdo it.
Yeah.
But it's hard, because
it is.
You want it to be great, right?
Yeah, it's hard, especially because like it's something you're making. So the harder you are on yourself, because you're like, wait, no, I can still do better. I can still bring this further.
Well, I mean, sometimes you can. It's not necessarily a bad trait to be self-critical, and
yeah.
But there comes a time where you just kind of know, okay, let's put down the pencil or the typewriter or the keyboard or whatever.
And let's go.
Yeah, but it's good. I mean, it's a great subject. I'm so glad you brought it up because some of the adventure is in the details. A lot of it is. And so it's also good to explore, like, how could I say that better? If I wanted to use the word explore and it's not quite right. It doesn't sit on the melody right. It's a school sounding word, explore. So how can I better say that? And I have to back out of it and change lines around that word so that it work, whatever it takes, and then again, the surprise comes. There it is. Or, and it's just, you just strangle yourself with it, at which point what you said pertains. It's done.
Let it go.
Let it go. Max, done. David.
Yes.
Put it down.
Yes, It's done. Let it go. So
Yeah.
the conversation we're having right now about like songwriting, song processes, inspirations, it's reminding me about your own podcast called Song Sessions. So can you tell us how this podcast came to be?
Yeah, well, I've written with a lot of great writers, and I have a lot of heroes, and I'm extremely interested in the subject. And so I decided that I'd interview some people, some well-known, some not well-known, but their songs are, and do these. Gosh, some of them are 3 hours long.
Yes.
There's some coming. We have 7 more coming that haven't even been
that's
released
great.
yet. With wonderful writer Rupert Holmes. We just did a 3-hour with him, and Barry Manilow. We did a long one with him. But yeah, so I'm interested, like you. I mean, it's like it goes like this,
Yes.
you know. And I'm sometimes sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You first.
No, I was gonna say I respect these people. Like we did Paul Williams, who wrote the lyricist, who wrote all these. Well, he was an Oscar winner. He wrote Evergreen with Barbra Streisand. He all the Muppet stuff. The Rainbow Connection.
Love that.
So many things. All the Carpenter hits. We've only just begun to live. He wrote so many hits, and there he is, and he's on the screen, and I have my questions all set up, and as soon as he starts talking, I can't even remember what I'm going to ask him, and I just listen. Just listening. He just goes blah da 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 da. Charming people, talented people, and they're all genuinely kind, nice people. They're really good people. They want to. They're doing it for the right reason.
Exactly.
So
it
we did
always
Richard
goes back to that.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's right. We did Richard Marx, Melissa Manchester, Barry Mann, who wrote "You've Lost That Love and Feeling" on Broadway. Here You Come Again. Just so many hits. Gosh, we did Kathy Lee Gifford. We did. I did. Alan Bergman, who with his wife Marilyn wrote "The Way We Were." I mean, classy guys who've really been there and done that, and their stories. So it's been a great time to do this interview show.
Yeah, I think that's for me, that's the best part about podcasts. Like whether listening or being in the podcast, you learn so much in a different way from a class because you're not being lectured. Instead, like you're part of the conversation. You're helping the conversation flow. And like when you love your guest, when your guest is so wise, there's really so much you pick up. I was watching your podcast yesterday, and like there were so many things I picked up that sometimes you don't even notice the time because you're enjoying the conversation, you're learning so much. And especially like right now where I think the past 2 years I've hardly left my room, it's very enriching to get to see and hear these things.
Oh, I'm so glad. Which one did you listen to? Which one did you?
I listened to Kathy Lee's. I listened to this one. I listened to the Richard Marx one yesterday as well. And like there was something that stood out to me. I think you talked about how music is a contact sport. And like I found that line so interesting. So can you please explain it a little further?
Well, it's the truth. And it's like any business. It's all who you know. And that's where a lot of the success comes. At least in my experience, I see that if you go to a party, you're at a club, you play a song, and you just get out there and get out there. That's what a lot of young people who are just getting into this game, they're missing that. They think it's all on a YouTube or it's all on promotion. But it's not. It's meeting people and having them go, wow, you're so awesome. And from time immemorial, from way back to now and into the future, that's how things are done. And it's a business you know, law. Really, I mean, people like you. They know you. They can trust you. They know you can be successful. They see it. They see other people see it, and they want to get on the band. They want to get on board, and it expands.
One thing you also said, to get it to expand, you have to be very professional. And I think that's something that a lot of us really need to keep in mind, that in any business, we need to be professional. We need to show up on time. We need to be our best selves. We always need to put our best foot forward. So
That's
like
right.
for someone my age who's like beginning her journey, what are tips you can give to me and like to our audience members here? Like some of us are about like we're in college, some of us are about to graduate. What can we remember?
In terms of like some things to take with you that'll make it easier.
Yeah,
for
some
you?
things
Is that what
that
you mean?
some things that we need to keep in mind, like entering this next part
Yeah.
of our lives.
Wow. And what a great thing that you're doing this and wanting
you.
people to know that answer. Gosh, but what can I give? It sounds corny, but it's true that if you do something you love and you work at it and you perfect it and you get out and communicate it to people, others, sooner or later, things expand. It's a communication universe. This world is is founded on communication. It's not founded on, I'm a star and you're not. There's no real communication there. And so I would say, just get in it, be passionate about it, swim in it, like I was describing before, and enjoy it and learn about it. That's another thing too. This learning thing never stops.
I agree.
I'm always going, geez, how did that guy do that?
Yeah.
Just the other day, I looked at, what do you call it? It's like a master class online. And I had a moment with myself where I thought, well, I can't sit in that guy's master class. I mean, I've been doing this my whole life. I know about this stuff. Right. And, that was a kind of a pompous thing to think, although an understandable one, I guess. But,
Yeah.
but I really could use what that guy had to say. I was, and I'm going to go forward with it. But it's just an example of, to not get so full of yourself that you're not learning all the time. Yeah.
That's something actually I think like our generation needs to remember so much, because I think because of like how we're so exposed to everyone all the time because of how social media is. Like you see everyone, you see everything, and it's easy. Like sometimes when the numbers say so, you feel like you've reached it. You feel like you've had it all and that there isn't much to do afterwards. But like I think what I learned from all of this, like from talking to you and from many conversations we've had, is that there's something to learn from everyone, and everyone has their own story, like regardless of age, regardless of where they're from, no matter who you are,
Yeah.
you have something to share that the person beside you would not have, simply because they're not you. And like that's really something we need to keep in mind.
That's beautiful. I couldn't add on to that at all. Perfectly said.
So before my teammates ask their questions, I'm just curious about some of the stories of your songs, starting with one of the recent ones, No Worries.
Oh, no worries. I wrote that with a friend of mine called Eddie Kilgallen in Nashville. And well, it's one of those silly feel-good songs. And things were looking pretty serious there for a while.
Yes.
And I've always loved that saying. It was born in Australia, really. No worries, mate. No worries.
Yes.
Then after 50 years, they say no worries. And so I thought it would be a great title for a song, and we wrote it, and there it was.
I think the year it came out was the perfect time for that song, actually. Like it came out in 2020 when we needed reminders that things were going to be okay.
well, that's good.
I think like one thing we can always go back to when we talk about music is it's such a team effort. It's very communal, like as a performer with the listeners and when you're creating the song.
Mm-hmm. It's also good to remember, and it's a little bit like I said before, that the song is for somebody else. It's for somebody else. I was somebody asked me a question just a couple of weeks ago. I was doing a seminar, I was in with other writers and such, and somebody asked, how do you put together this thing about commercialism versus art? You know, they seem to not go together.
Yeah.
You know, how do you do that? And I'd been asked that all my life, you know, and I've struggled with that as well. But it came to me like in a flash that if what you're doing, I mean, you got to be pleased with it. It's got to flow through you. You know, you're the artist. You know when it's right, and it's a beautiful thing. But it's not just for you. Yeah. It's for them. Boy, they're gonna. You know, I mean, the thought that goes along with it is, boy, they're really gonna like that. They being my teacher, my friend, the audience, the world, the record company executive, whoever. So therefore, commercialism, all that means is that people buy it. And so the artistic is with you. Everybody, right? The artistic, that's yours. You're the arbiter, you're the decider. The deciderer of when it's right. That's all for you. That's the joy. That's your joy you've been gifted with. And the commercialism part of it is only the next step. It's like, I love this, but they're going to love it too. And you give it to them. So there's no conflict, you know. And if they love it, they'll buy it, and you get lots of money and status and stature, and you become a star and all that stuff. But it's always us, you know.
Us.
I'm gonna make an effect on you, baby.
Yes.
You know, I want you to get this, you know, or like a kiss, you know, like you walk somebody home and you're at the door. And you give them you really like that person, and you give them a kiss, and you want them to know how you feel. And this kiss is going to show you how I feel. I want you to know you're awesome. And it's in the kiss, right? Same thing with the song.
I really see that you value honesty, authenticity. That's been a recurring thing. And then now we talk about effects and how like this is a communal thing once again. So in terms of the song message and the story that you tell, and we know a lot of your songs have been around for a very long time, over the years, does the meaning of your song ever change or grow with you?
Oh, wow. Well, I look at some of my earlier songs that I was very critical of, and I've noticed that a lot of them weren't so bad. You know? And I was pretty good then, you know, because I'm always going, I was just a kid. I mean, what did I know about songwriting? I was just lucky or whatever. I'm really good now, you know, but I've kind of looked back and noticed that, hey, wow, I was pretty good. That was a good song, you know, wow. And I was 20 and it was all there. So yeah, I've surprised myself that way.
Of course, we love surprises. We love surprises when songwriting.
We love surprises. And that's one of them.
Okay, so now I'm going to give the floor to my team members who have something to say. So earlier we had my cousin Miguel who sponsored the Zoom chat. Now we have two students, my co-producers, Ian Bundok and Migoy Arroyo, and one of our co-anchors, Sir Lester Mendiola. So hi guys, please turn on your cameras.
I just have a question before we start.
Oh, sure.
Is everybody wearing pants?
Do pajamas count?
I'm sorry. I'm being silly. Go ahead. Because I just see the heads and the shoulders, like, what's that guy wearing? Okay.
I'm afraid it's a little too hot right now to wear. That's something I could say. So, Sir David, I do have a question for you actually. Earlier you talked about processes in writing songs for albums and Broadway. Well, I have a similar question. And this is coming from someone who is interested in writing about love. What are some thought processes you have when you write about love? Are there certain things or people or thoughts you find yourself coming back to or thinking about when writing?
Wow. Well, I don't think I've written a really great love song for a while. You've actually, I've just realized that from what you just said. And what I notice is every time I write anything, but certainly on a subject is like love, which is you can write at any age, and it's always kind of different. I'd be interested to see what my latest love song would be now. When I first got started, I wrote a lot of sad love songs, breakup songs, and a lot of them were hits, like Trying to Get the Feeling Again and the old songs and all that stuff. Oh, you're leaving me and I'm so sad and woo. and then I started to write. I started to get more celebratory on the subject, and etc. But I guess the answer to the question is it's always different. Every moment is different, isn't it? I mean, when you write, you're a writer, right? So when you write, you sit down, it's a blank, it's a blank canvas, as Sondheim said. You can go anywhere you want. And the first thing to do is, where am I? What is it? Where am I? Who's what do I want to say? I don't know where you would start. You'd start differently than I. But there isn't any set thing that I take with me. Love is blah, or I write, this is what a love song should be. This is all plastic. It's all plastic. I mean, it's shapeable. It's all infinitely shapeable and surprising. So, but thank you for that question, because I feel more interested in now telling some truth about an emotion or someone that I know or my wife or whatever in a new time. I've written lots of songs for my wife, but a new one after now these years later, blah blah. So
thank you for that. I'd definitely be interested in listening if ever you do start to write.
Well, good. I mean, yeah, it's you're right. It's the material we use is life, and that's a big subject, and it's an infinite subject, and that's the fun, Like, well, let's look at a love song. Like, how can I say I love you when there's been 500 million love songs? And the answer seems to be you look and you try things. And Paul McCartney always talks about, because people are always asking him, how do you write a song? Well, I push the melody around until it sounds good. That's all he's got to say, and it's just as organic as that. So good. So write a good love song. Write a good love song, Ian. I want to hear it.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be looking forward to hearing your new love songs, David. And I think it's very interesting what you said about how love is infinite. And that way, all of us would have a very different way of approaching it or talking about it.
Sure. Oh, yeah. And the detail.
Yes.
Is always good. It's a good help, right? Because when you do the general thing, then it sounds like it's a pop. Oh, it's a pop song. Everybody knows those words. But if you look, and if the song is about the shape of her nose, reminds me of the thrill of a ski lift, as I fly through the air, and I mean whatever, something specific, and it communicates nicely that way.
My question would be, what's the best advice you've ever been given?
Wow, in life or in music, or what?
I think it would be in music, sir.
It's actually both answers. The best advice I've ever been given is have a good time. In a world when careers get serious, and I mean, not to say that deadlines aren't important and I'm sure I mean, you guys, are hardworking guys. It can seem like, oh my God, I'm never going to make it. Oh God, what have I done? That thing. But generally, I find that to keep a jolly viewpoint is a big, big help in every way, in writing, performing, meeting people, promoting a career, helping others. I just find the kindness and a light touch is a very good way to be, and that's been the best advice I've had.
Thank you for that, sir.
Nice.
Sure.
And I think that's something we really need right now.
Hi, David.
Hi, Lester.
I know that you've done a lot of collaborations in the past. What would you think the best collaboration you had? And do you have any dream collaborations with new artists right now?
Oh, do you mean collaborations, song collaborations?
Yes.
Co-writes. I see. Well, there's some great country guys that I really admire. There's a guy called Dan. There's a group called Dan and Shay. I don't know if you guys know them.
They're a duo. Yeah. Yes.
The duo. And Dan Mooney is a great writer. He writes a lot of their stuff. Guys like that. I mean, Ed Sheeran would be fun to write with. He's an interesting writer for so many reasons. He's really gifted. But I think anyone, I don't mean to avoid the answer, but anyone who knows their stuff would be someone I'd like to be in the room with, because I don't know how it's going to come out. I mean, look at Lennon and McCartney. They were close friends and they loved each other, but they were pretty different people. And I don't know if you guys know the Beatles stuff, but Lennon was sardonic and sarcastic and beautifully loving, but guarded, and McCartney was like beautiful. Everything's beautiful. It's beautiful. You say hi, you say goodbye, and I say hello. And so they're different, but you put them together, and it's like, something else. So anyone who knows what they're doing and who likes the exploration that's who I want to try one with. Is that too vague?
Sir Lester, you're still on mute.
I don't mean to be. Pardon?
Nope, it makes so much sense. I think that since collaborations are very big right now, and since you've been a veteran in the music industry and you've done a lot in the past, so yep.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fun, and get with people who can tickle you, take you to places you wouldn't have gone before.
And that would be very fun to see.
Yeah, for sure.
As listeners, we enjoy seeing people from different generations collaborating, because the sound would also be different, and the stories are usually not the stories you'd usually hear from either. So it's cool.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. I just want to ask, sort of in relation to the last question, what would you say is your favorite song that you've worked on?
Say it again. I'm sorry. It's the sound isn't great here. Go ahead.
What would you say is your favorite song that you've worked on?
Oh, that I've worked on or that I've written. My favorite song is a song you don't know, probably. It's called Clarence. And I did it on an album of mine on Arista years ago about a guy that I knew who was a good friend. And he was an older man, and he was like a teacher to me, And it's kind of a love song, not a sexual love song, but it's a love song of admiration for this guy. I'm very proud of that song. I like a song called The Truth of Us, which was on, I guess, the On This Day album. On This Day. I like On This Day. That song was written very fast. And I wrote it with Jimmy Peterick, who also wrote Eye of the Tiger and The Search Is Over and stuff. Great writer. Jimmy is he's our next Song Sessions interviewee, Jimmy Peterick.
Oh.
Great. He's just great. But I wrote, we had lunch together really quickly. We had lunch together in LA. We were going to write a song. And, and the menu, it was a fish restaurant. Mm-hmm. And the menu said, on this day, fresh cod or something. And I looked at him and I said, now, wait a minute. On this day. And we finished our lunch and I went out to the parking lot, and on the hood of the car, I started to pound out on this day. The chorus. Whole. On this day, I promise forever. He's going, that's pretty good. And then we went back to his place, or my place, I can't even remember now, and finished it. Took a few more hours to finish it. So I like that song. That's a nice song. I feel good about it. And I love the record of that song. We recorded that in Chicago at Jimmy's studio. And I would say also, some of those recordings on those albums that are recorded, most of them are recorded in Manila. And the quality of musicianship is unparalleled. Just the greatest. And, I tell my friends wherever else I am, whether in America or Europe or whatever, constantly about this experience that I have recording with Filipinos. Just phenomenal. So I'm very blessed, and we've made a lot of good friends. Your dad is one of them.
Yes.
you know Cruz. Great musicians. Anyway, I digress, but a lot of what makes those songs so great as records has to do with the regalados on drums and, Sakmina and all of the other, and the bass players, and Noel Mendez and all the guitar players. I mean, these guys are world-class, crazy good, and make the songs what they are. So anyway, you didn't ask me that, but there you have it.
That's nice. And I like the story. Somehow those stories of how songs come to be, they're surprising. You wouldn't expect them like that. A fish restaurant menu. That's not something I would have thought about, but it made for a really, really good song. So love it when I hear stories like that.
But he and I, excuse me, he and I were thinking of our respective wives when we wrote the song. Mm-hmm. And so while we were writing the song, especially the verses, we started to cry. It just started to go. I'm thinking of Kelly, and he's thinking of his wife, and I hope he wasn't thinking of Kelly. Wait a minute. Anyway, but so it was still honest. It wasn't that hey, this is a great idea. This will fool him. We'll call it On This Day. It's still got to have the heart,
Of course.
Yeah. So we found it.
But I think that's where creativity comes to play. You have this story you want to tell, and you have these feelings that are very, very real. And then you find a way to mix it into these unexpected things you see every day.
Mm-hmm. Nicely said. That's right.
All right, so a few quick fire questions. So you don't need to overthink. I'm just going to spit the questions out, and the thing that comes up at the top of your head is what you can say. What's your hidden talent?
My hidden talent is I think I'd be a very good cinematographer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm very interested in where the camera is when I see a movie. And editing too.
Editing.
Interests me. I'd be a good editor. Those things would interest me. I could do those things for a living.
What is your latest Netflix binge?
My wife does more of that. Wow, but I could tell you I saw a great movie on Netflix. And God, can I remember the name of it? It had to do with an Indian. It's a true story.
Oh,
it's Abdul and Victoria, I think is the name of it.
Oh, Victoria and Abdul.
That.
Yes, the one about
Have you
Queen
seen
Victoria. Yes, I've seen that.
Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah.
I love that movie, and that it's true story.
Mm-hmm.
Blows my mind. It's so human. It's so funny. It's so, yeah, the relationship is beautifully done, beautifully drawn, beautifully directed, acted. Phew. Great. So that's what comes to mind.
That's a great movie. Okay, so before we say thank you, what's next for David Pomeranz?
Oh, my friend, I've written a musical for and about the Philippines.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have. So there.
Nice.
Yes.
Look
And
forward.
you'll hear about it very soon. You'll hear about it
Ooh,
very soon.
That's great. That's great. And I hope we get to talk about it when it's out already.
Yes, for sure. Well, you'll hear about it. In fact, your dad
great.
worked on one of the early songs for it.
Oh.
As a demo.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm so looking forward to that. And hopefully next time
That's
you can come
mysterious,
back.
right?
Yeah, very mysterious. So that's going to be something for me to think about. And hopefully next
But
time
ask
we can.
him, and he'll play it for you. He'll play it for you. He did a beautiful job. Helped us arrange the song, and yeah, he was great.
I'll bother him later. But yes, I would very much like to talk about this musical and the other one that's still a mystery to us.
Yeah, you'll hear about it soon. But I'm going to make a new album soon with these new crazy ideas, and I can't wait to get back to see you guys. I mean, in person, actually.
Yes.
Play some more theaters and get back on that one. That's such a joy to be with you. To be with the Filipino audience is such a joy, and I miss it.
We miss you over here too.
Thank you.
Before that, we're looking forward to your new music. But where can we find you? What are your social media sites? What are your links?
Yeah. Well, I'm on all of them. I'm not on TikTok. I'm supposed to be, right?
I mean, if you want to, we'd love to see your
guess.
dance routines.
Well, I mean, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, blah blah. I have a good website which has all the interviews. They're all, as they come out, they're all going to be up there. And I don't know, I'm on YouTube. I don't know, where should I be? You tell me. Where am I supposed to be?
I think you've covered all the bases: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If you want to open a TikTok, if you want to open a TikTok,
I have no idea. I mean, I could, show people my socks. I mean, I don't know, what do they want to know? It's like, here's what I'm eating. I'm eating corned beef hash this morning, and and Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter, but I'm sorry, I don't get why. Now, maybe I'm stupid, but why? Why does anybody care? It's like, here's my new cat. It's like, how does that help anybody? I think that, the political events of the day, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why? The people I work with on social media think I'm nuts because I don't know what to say half the time because like, why does anybody care? And every once in a while, I have something I want to say. Thanks for wow or boo. You know, it's got to have some kind of. But otherwise, I know people that do it every day. You know, I got a new pencil. It's like, okay.
I guess it's also a way of starting conversations.
Well, that's true, right? That is true. No, so let me ask you. You can keep this or not. So you're on Twitter, right?
Yes.
And so when you put something forth, when you say something, I like tomato juice. Don't you? Or something, right? Then what happens? They people say, me too, me too, me too. I hate tomato juice. I prefer orange juice. Da, da, da. And then what happens then? Then you say something back?
You know, believe it or not, sometimes like what happens on Twitter is you just say something like anything at all. Like, oh my gosh, I have so much homework today, and you don't even need to get a reply. Sometimes people will just like it, like they'll just heart it, and that's their way of saying like, oh yeah, I feel you. And stuff like that. But then I don't think I'm a good example of a Twitter user because most of like the stuff, first of all, I hardly tweet. If I see something, like if I see a meme I like, or if there's a movie I like coming out, I will look up stuff on it. But then otherwise I hardly make my own tweets unless it's to say a joke. So there's that. that's what I do on Twitter.
But that's good, so that you can make somebody laugh or make them smile or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. But that's cool. That's got a good purpose. That's good.
Yeah, that's
okay.
funny.
I'll rethink this. I'll rethink this.
All right. So.
And I do like tomato juice. Do you?
You like tomato juice? I like tomato soup.
I love tomato juice.
I like tomato soup.
It's a very underrated juice.
Okay. So everyone, later we will drink tomato juice in honor of your birthday.
Thank you very much, madame.
No, I will say I like tomato soup with grilled cheese. That
tomato soup and what? And what?
Grilled cheese. Tomato soup.
Yes.
Have it with grilled cheese. Oh, that's so good.
Yes. Yes. Ooh, yes. Okay.
Well, that's something to ask you. What is a quarantine meal you had or learned to make?
A quarantine meal. Ay, ay, ay. Well, I'm not a great cook, but I like anything in spaghetti. I'm a spaghetti.
Me
crazy
too.
And you know, tomato soup. Is this interesting? I don't know. Tomato soup, really, really well done with a beautiful taste, is a wonderful sauce for pasta.
I can imagine.
Anyway, isn't this interesting, everybody?
It is.
The whole university is hearing this and going, "What the heck are these guys talking about? Why am I listening? This is like TikTok." You can have quinoa spaghetti. You can have brown rice spaghetti. We live in a very advanced age where spaghetti can take on all sorts of forms, and it's not all just cholesterol, wheat, fat stuff. There you go.
We love spaghetti.
I'm better for this.
And that is one of our important takeaways from the day.
Well, thank you so much. This has been really great fun to be with you and all of you that are part of this.
We had a lot of fun. All right. So before I thank you properly and we say goodbye, though, please stay after for a picture. Allow me to thank a few people first. So before we say goodbye to our audience and to our guests, please allow me to thank a few people first, starting with Miguel. Thank you for lending us your Zoom account for this show. Thank you also to Migoy and Ian for helping me put this show together. Thank you to Sir Lester and Sir Justin, who was here earlier. Also, thank you to James and Sir Justin again, who will be handling this broadcast. So To our audience, of course, thank you, 1,000 times. Thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. So please don't miss out. Follow us on Instagram at newwave.rk to stay updated. Catch the replay on Radio Katipunan 87.9 FM's Facebook page, YouTube, and Twitter Live, all of which go by at Radio Katipunan. Don't forget that you can also listen to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. But most of all, thank you to our wonderful, very wise, inspirational, spaghetti-loving guest, Mr. David Pomeranz, for spending your evening with us and for spreading a lot of cheer. I really learned a lot today. Like, I learned so much, and I will definitely be looking back at this interview. So from today onwards, we will continue to believe in magic with you.
Oh, thank you, Max. You are awesome. You're really great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you. So before we go, is there anything else you would like to tell our audience?
I love you very, very much. I take you with me wherever I go. You're in my heart, and that's the truth. And I'll see you all soon.
We look forward to when we can all see each other face to face.
Thank you, my friend.
So
give my regards to your parents, okay?
For sure.
Good.
So once again, this has been Max. And when it comes to what's happening, I'll serve you the facts. And this has been New Wave. See you all next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
If it's entertainment you crave,
catch us on New Wave.
Surfing through the latest on our shores.
Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m.
See you there.
Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay at tenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng kwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugod, todo sa kayon, tulong at tulong. Lipat na Blue Eagle, galing giting nagigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan.
Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede.
Baka naman pwede. Mga isyung napapanahon, ating pag-usapan.
Baka naman pwede.
Gamit ang mga pananaw mula sa iba't ibang